Hello, this is the Harboring Light. I'm Mary. I give a conservative perspective about the world around me. So, feedback is greatly important. Reach out to me, questions, comments, concerns, show ideas, email, Substack, X, and of course, fill the comments on YouTube. Be greatly appreciated. And hit that like button. Helps with the algorithm too on YouTube. All right, so some of the audio platforms that I'm on is Spreaker, of course, Pandora, Spotify, Deezer, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, just to name a few. So, this episode is about Austria, the food. Particularly, I'm going to focus in on the foods in the fall. I'm going to do the AI generated. It'll take about foods that are known for the eating in the fall in Austria, along with an article that talks about specific foods from Austria. And Austria is well known for, particularly with classical music, and it's nice to get another aspect about the food point of view of Austria. All right, so here we go. So, brief thoughts here. I can't stress enough, and it's very excitable to know that there's so many listeners out there, not only from America, but abroad. And that speaks volume to me. And says that what I'm doing, what I'm saying, is really connecting with people. And it really speaks to me in the manners of my whole reasons behind being a podcaster and doing this. Because it's one of those things, where you get into this point of saying to yourself, either do it or not, or what's the alternative of not doing it and being frozen in indecision. And it's one of those things that, it's either by chance or what have you when things come to your doorstep. And it's just interesting, me being with how I came to be and being interested in being a podcaster, randomly seeing a commercial one day, particularly watching Pluto and Anchor advertising, the whole aspect of having a platform for the same as YouTube, you have something to say it, and Anchor can be the vehicle to push that forward. And, expanding to speaker speaks tremendously to the impact that I'm having with my podcast. And I appreciate all of you. And I can't stress enough again that questions, comments, concerns is greatly appreciated, because you all matter, and what you have to say matters too. And so me doing these things on Friday is a real way of saying that, instead of just doing a lip service saying, oh, I appreciate you all, but not, giving some concrete evidence that that's true. And yeah, so here we are. So I'm going to get into the aspects about food from Austria. Here we go. Well, okay. So here is the AI generated response about autumn foods in Austria. So Tafelspitz is a classic Austrian dish. Tafelspitz is boiled beef or veal served with seasonal vegetables, applesauce, and horseradish. There we go. It is a staple in many Austrian households during the fall and winter months. Kaiser charm or Kaiser charm. This sweet, fluffy pancake is often served with fruit and from stewed plums and powdered sugar. It is a popular dessert or snack during the fall season. So, verhackert, I believe, especially spread. It's made from finely chopped smoked bacon, garlic, onion, and spices. It's typically served on bread and is a key component to non-vegetarian burger Josh platter of cold cuts. So that's what that is. So chestnuts. Roasted chestnuts are a popular autumn treat in Austria. Often enjoyed with a glass of Sturm, a young cloudy wine, along with South Wine Road. So Sturm is young fermented wine is a seasonal specialty in Austria. It's available in the late summer to early winter. It's perfect for sipping on a crisp fall evening. Goulash. While not exclusively a fall dish, goulash is a hearty, comforting stew that's popular throughout the year in Austria. In the fall, it's often made with beef or pork or served with custardy bread or dumplings. Spätzle. These flour dumplings are traditionally served in Austria in the Austrian Alps. Often topped with cheese, onions, and paprika, they are a satisfying side dish during the fall seasons. All right, so here are some of the sources from the AI generated response. It's Austria Info, Community by Rick Steve. And Rick Steve, he's a really good travel writer, travel commentary, and he has his show, Rick Steve's, PBS. And PBS, for what they are, I give them credit for what they did as far as travel shows. All right, so tripsavvy.com and travelandmad.com, just to name a few. All right, so gonna go into an actual source. Well, those are sources, but read from, and of course this link will be provided for you. Read from an article or source that goes into more depth about food from Austria. All right, here we go. All right, so this article, of course, it will be provided for you in this episode, the source. So it's entitled Top 5 Austrian Dishes You Need to Try. So Austrian classic from the Wiener Schnitzel to the Maryland Krodel. Don't miss these must-eats on your stay in Austria. So, as I stretch and make an important emphasis on this, and this is very well put, I think so, with it entitling by saying food is identity. And that's absolutely true. So, can't stress enough, can't say it enough, and I'll keep reiterating this as time goes on. So, food is a foolproof and is a easy way to say how you feel or what your thought processes are about your culture. And I just really appreciate other like-minded people who see that and understand that. So it's an important part of our sense of belonging to our families, cultural area, and national unity. So for the British, the archetypal dish is fish and chips. For Americans, it's hamburgers. And for the Japanese, sushi. And for the Austrians, it's Wiener Schnitzel, and they say, of course. So Wiener Schnitzel. Many of the dishes considered to be classic Austrian recipes today would never have been seen the light of day without the intercultural dialogue. Austrians have always been true masters in the art of tying together a wide variety of cultural influence on a single plate. So they go on to say, take for example the famous Wiener Schnitzel. Its roots are found not in Vienna, but in Venice. So Italian chefs were frying meat in a breadcrumb wrapper as early as the 16th century. And before that, the Jewish population of Constantinople did the same. So according to legend, this form of fried meat was brought to Austria around 1857 by the Austrian Field Marshal Count Radziwiłł. Austrian chefs perfected the recipe during the late Imperial Age, making Wiener Schnitzel what it is today, and incomparable to an Austrian delicacy. Marlinken Quadel. So, culinary specialties are a national and regional landmark, and this dessert looks absolutely scrumptious. And I appreciate the photo accompaniment of it. Looks so good. Looks like a peach cobbler. It just looks, wow, it looks incredible. So they reveal much about the soul of a country, about the openness of the cultures. This can happen let me restate that. Thus, it can happen that originally Chinese fruit, the apricot, is combined with a plant product from South Asia, sugar, and a Bohemian method of preparation, the dumpling, to become the cultural icon of Austria's picturesque Wash Valley. The Marlinken Quadel and is accompanied with the apricot dumpling. Okay, Sacher Torte. Although chocolate cake was not invented in Vienna, the legendary Sacher Torte was baked for the first time in 1832 by the clever baker's apprentice Franz Schachel. The cake was impressive above all for its taste and design. But the person responsible for the Schachel Torte became the most famous of all chocolate cakes. And it was his son, Edward Schachel. By the end of the 19th century, he made the Schachel Torte a household name nearly everywhere, thus launching its unparalleled success story. So, mountain cheese. It doesn't even look real the way that it's photographed and hot. Wow. Just imagine what it looks like in person. So, Austria's westernmost province, a spicy or aromatic specialty, is produced mountain cheese. So cheese originated in the Middle East, where the nutritional value of milk has become apparent as early as the Stone Age. So the recipe developed in the high mountains of Russian Austria for purely practical reasons. Fresh milk was easily and cheaply available, and hard cheese kept for a very long time, making it possible to survive in high and hospitable, that is, alpine regions. They go on to say, we owe the wide variety of cheese available today to the many different kinds of grass and herbs found in the alpine pastures. So on the Wallerberg Cheese Road, you can visit a variety of dairies and cheesemakers and have a taste. Linzer Torte. So the Linzer Torte is another dish known, and it looks so good there. Wow. It's so... And I really like desserts that you can see the fruit gelatin, or the preserve, really, when they get more on the hotter matter, that's what it is, fruit preserve in it. Looks good. So far beyond the borders of Austria, it took its name from Lincoln, the Upper Austrian capital, and it's unique in the fact that it was the world's first cake recipe to appear in written form. The cake first became famous in 1822 when a baker from Francona, Johanna Vogel, to be exact, began working for the Katrina Chris, the widower of Lindsay confectioner, Lindsay confectioner. And that was the beginning of a success story. Today, the Lindsay torte is just as well known abroad as the saucer torte, and no less popular as delicious as it's a city souvenir. All right, so I'm going to wrap this up with my final thoughts. Okay, so closing thoughts. So, immensely grateful that I have so much. It's just, I can't stress that enough, how much appreciation I have for all you listeners out there. And, I know I said it in my opening thoughts, but I just want to reiterate it again. All of y'all, it really means a lot to me, because it's saying that, again, that what I'm saying, what I'm doing is valuable. And then what things that I find interesting about society and the concept of how things evolve throughout time and how things are changing now, specifically now, and this time that we're living in, it speaks volumes to me. And then, there's so many podcasts out there, and you can say it's beg the argument that is overly saturated. And the fact that you choose to listen to me, it speaks a lot of volumes too, because I see a podcast as, the going back to the era of when news radio, pun intended, because Joe Rogan, with his format. Anyway, my concept here is that this is a news show. Well, not radio show, and then, news happen to be, presented, but it's more me making cultural analysis, a cultural analysis about the world around me, particularly from a conservative point of view. And, I remember when I was growing up, back when 60 Minutes was somewhat decent, and Andy Rooney was a prolific voice to me. And so he would take things, simple observations, and bring in some facts of the matter about it. And then when I saw the aspect of, everyday people can create a podcast, just like with YouTube, with it's unfortunate all the problems that are with YouTube, but in the concept of the idea that everyday people, if you have the right kind of talent, the right kind of message, you can have an audience. And, and it's, again, one of those things where you have the concept, just like the aspect of voting. That's a stretch to say, but it's from the political realm and for the societal realm. Okay, if you really want to make some changes and you really care about the matter of the issues, or you really have something to say, go out and vote and put your vote where it counts. And so I see this as this aspects of doing my podcast, and needless to say, with the aspect of the voting, that it counts. And I just can't thank y'all all enough. It's just, this reminder is proof all the time, every day, that it counts. And it's also it's admirable that people internationally are listening to my podcast, my little old podcast here. And it says that what I'm saying matters. And it says that it doesn't really matter who you are, where you come from. If you can relate to people, you can relate to people. If you don't, you don't. It doesn't have anything to do, mostly for the part, mostly. And it doesn't have anything to do, which is truly honest, really. It's unfortunate, yes, racism does exist, but it's not prevalent as people like to push it in the mainstream. But again, if you understand that aspect that we are all, if you have something to say, and then you say it in a way that's relatable to a lot of people, it doesn't matter who you are, ethnicity, where you come from, whatever. The message will relay and resonate with people. And I just, excuse me, I still, there's freaking allergies kicking my butt. It just is prevalent with all the viewership, international ship that listeners that I'm getting, that what I'm saying is relatable. It counts. Yeah, hold on just a minute, sweetie. And, music, not only with music, but other aspects that I cover, and then, hold on just a minute, baby. Just hold on. Sorry, my daughter, she gets so excited. So it's just prevalent that with music, along with the aspects of food and other topics that I talk about, that these things have a lot of social impact on how people view things. And it's just neat that you all feel the same way. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Hold on, sweetie. I'm fixing to open it for you. Hold on. Okay? All right. Now that she's gone to play, it's closing. Hold on. All right. Come on, sweetie. All right. Yeah. Those of you who have kids, who love kids, who knows they love to play. All right. So this reaches the end of the harboring light. And again, questions, comments, concerns, any feedback you have, show ideas, possibly, reach out to me. Tune in, turn up, and absolutely take care. Bye-bye now.